Long live the cowboy, rocking them trucks, never getting stuck in the mud. I'm talking about American made, nothing but USA. Dirt running through his veins. You know him as the man in black, busting his ass in the boots and the buckle in the hat. Come on, make some noise for the one and only real McCoys. Long live the cowboys. Pulling the midnight haul through Arkansas.
Thank you so much for joining us,
So cool
Mr.
to be
and
here.
Mrs. Walker. And I was instructed to open this interview by congratulating you
Yes.
for the good luck and the joy of waking up with this man every morning. Clay didn't tell me to say it or anything.
Right.
I did notice all of the photos outside the wall there, that all the folks who had been in here. Pretty cool. Very cool.
Got some amazing
It's all
people in
Samuel
here.
L. Jackson up there.
And you guys golf together,
Buddy
right?
of mine, Kevin Costner, buddy of mine. I didn't see Joe Montana on there. He's a good buddy.
We'll
of mine.
do it, we'll ask
And
him.
Tom Brady. Me and Tom are like that, you know.
Who else? Come on.
I'm just name dropping as much as, and I know you, Donna.
There you go.
Do y'all know Donna? You guys? Yeah. What she was referring to is we were back in the green room, and she said, "Is there anything you'd like me to say when I go out there?" I said, "Would you just let everyone know how lucky she is to have me?" And no, she goes, "You're right."
And she said, I didn't hear that, and I just don't want to know. So.
Yeah, it's the other way around, obviously.
Well, yeah, and that brings us to why we're here. National Caregivers Month. What does that mean for both of you?
Well, it means I got the best caregiver ever. I was diagnosed with MS 20 years ago, and when I was originally diagnosed, the prognosis was that I'd be in a wheelchair in 4 years and dead in 8. And if that were the case, I wouldn't have met her. So it's things have been really good. I've been relapse-free for 18 straight years, despite having multiple sclerosis. And I'm a country music singer, and you know, being able to do the things that I love doing. And another little fact is I've never missed a show in my entire career. So we turned that prognosis, of that devastating prognosis, around by getting information that we needed to get. I have a great relationship with Teva, a great relationship with my doctor, Jerry Walensky, who is one of the leading researchers for multiple sclerosis. And Jess, inside of our home, makes sure that I do 3 things. That I have a good diet, which we grow a lot of our own vegetables, which are organic, and that I exercise, which I hate doing that, but and then I take my medication. So she's on top of it.
Jessica, how has this changed your relationship with your husband?
Well, we met here in New York City 11 years ago yesterday.
And as I was telling her backstage, this proves you can meet a decent guy in New York.
Right.
Much to that's good news for my single friends.
So, you know, when we first met, I Googled it, and it was, you know, kind of scary. And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump into this journey and start our normal. So I love routine. I have a really type A personality, so I decided to just kind of become a stickler with everything that he needed to do, eating right. We eat organic, you know, as often as we can, making sure that he exercises and taking his medication. And, you know, when he's home, it's easy for me to do that, but when he's away, it can be a little bit more difficult.
So she calls my band members.
I call his band members.
No way, seriously?
Yes.
I do. And I say, please make sure he's getting a workout. And like he says, he'll be walking on stage, and we'll be like, hey, did you get a workout today? And he's like, why? Sure enough, I had called them that day. So.
And in the South, I want to, you know, in the South they have this burger chain called Whataburger, and it, like triple meat and cheese is unbelievable. You know, so the band
And it's
stopped,
not organic.
and she's like, no, babe. She goes, I packed chicken for you. It's right there. Just put some hot sauce on it. It's all good. And I'm like, I know that one of these jerks is going to tell her that if I go in there. So I'm always accountable, which is not bad, you know. But the exercise is probably the toughest thing for me. And we get home Thursday, and she's like, do you have Ken coming over? Ken is my drummer, my workout partner. And so I called him. He'll be there at 10 a.m. So, you know, yeah.
What kind of exercise do you have to do?
Well, with MS, a lot of MS people who have relapsing, remitting MS. How many of you have heard of multiple sclerosis before? Everybody. Wow. Okay. Well, there's a thing called spasticity, which is a common symptom of MS, and it makes your muscles very tense, and it's like they're always turned on. You know, if you relax your muscle, it relaxes. But in an MS patient, you have this stuff called spasticity. So with me, Ken, my drummer, and I, we do some special stretches for me, and then we do a workout that requires some lunging and turning, which gets me really mobile and opens my hips up really good, and that's just what I do. And you know, fortunately, we worked out. I call it scratching it out of the dirt. we have found a great routine for me, you know, along with things that she does, and just customize the workout to me. And so when I get on stage, people go, "This guy does not look like he has MS," and that's a good feeling.
No, you look incredibly fit and healthy.
Thank you.
And I think that, I mean, that's such a testament to both of you guys and your dedication. Did you, I mean, from the minute you were diagnosed, what kind of, take me through your response?
Well, when you're first diagnosed with a chronic illness, first of all, MS has come a long way, but 20 years ago when I was diagnosed, there's no known cause for MS and no known cure. So that in itself is scary enough. We both have a healthy fear of what MS can do as far as debilitation, but my plan was immediately to find out what can you do about it. You know, is there a medication that you can take? And fortunately, back then there was a medication that came out which really helped me, and I continue to take this day. But there are several medications now for MS, which are proven to reduce the number of exacerbations. And so it's kind of my goal in life as far as MS goes is to educate and to inspire people who have MS to work with a neurologist very closely and find something that will work for them, because half of the people who have MS are taking no medication for it for whatever reason.
Huh. How has this impacted your touring and your performing?
Well, as I stated earlier, I haven't missed any shows, and the shows are lively. I move around a lot on stage, and I can say that I do have a numbness in my right foot a lot of times, and it gets a little cold. But when I was originally diagnosed, I couldn't walk or hold a guitar pick in my right hand, and I had double vision, and so these were, you know, uber scary symptoms, and I didn't know if I would recover from that. I also had a facial spasm that went from the top of my head all the way to the bottom of my chin. It just literally wouldn't stop for 8 weeks, and the movement rubbed blisters on my eyeball because it was even at night when I was sleeping. And so the MS can be very scary because no doctor can tell you, okay, you're not going to have another exacerbation. No doctor can tell you when the exacerbation is going to end. And in a lot of medicine, as we know in conventional medicine, they're really observing you. You know, so all we have is data that shows that there are some medications that can reduce the number of exacerbations and, in my case, arrest the disease. So I'm very blessed and extremely blessed to have this woman beside me who makes sure that I enhance everything that medication is working to do.
Jessica, what's your routine like at home?
Well,
He is at home.
when he is at home, you know, our kids are even a big part of what we do. We wake up every day, and funny thing is he'll get dressed to go and work out on our farm, and he calls that his workout. And I'll say, nope, turn around. You're getting out you're going to work out before you start any workout on the farm, because he considers that fun. Just working out. We farm a lot of our own vegetables, working out on our farm, cooking with our kids, and making sure he takes his medication every day. I mean, those things. I think that's why he is where he is today, because we've made that our lifestyle and what we do every
Well,
day.
it sounds like you implemented that lifestyle, and you enforce that lifestyle.
Yes,
She's very fun too, though. You know, in our home, we have. I took a city girl and put her in the country, and obviously, if you can survive in New York, you can survive anywhere. She's doing great on the farm, and every evening at 5, I open a bottle of wine, pour us a glass of wine, and our kids and her, myself, we all start. We have an island kitchen, so our 3-year-old is sitting on the island, and all 3 kids are up on the island, and they're all cutting something, mixing something, preparing dinner every evening. And I have to say there's a lot of joy. We have speakers in our new home too, so we fight over what music is going to be played a lot, but most of the time she wins that fight. But we have music going, happiness, joy, and there's a routine there that is foundational for us, but it is by no means mundane.
You guys are such an inspiration, I have to say. I mean, the fact that you basically kicked his ass into gear and make him stick to it, props to you for that.
Well,
and the fact that you're doing it.
Right. It's a daily.
Well, I mean, she has tools. Look at these legs. I mean, you know, they kick a long way. That's what I'm trying to say. But no, she always gets what she wants, but she never gloats about it, and she's never overbearing. It's just the right amount. And I think what should I say? I think the substance of a woman awfully, and I'm not saying she always holds it together. Sometimes she has to crack the whip, but she's very subtle, but she's very persistent in getting me to do what I need to do. Because let's face it, I mean, if something was going wrong with my health, it took a turn, then we're having a different conversation right now.
Absolutely. And it's nice to see, caregivers don't get a lot of credit. So,
How many caregivers are there in the U.S.?
There are
Like
90 million caregivers.
90.
and they get no attention.
I know. So this month is to honor them.
This is National Caregivers Month. That's why we're in New York. We're actually here celebrating that and doing SMTs, which is a satellite media tour, talking about the importance of the caregiver role. You know, there's a lot of people, probably some of you, who have loved ones, you know, that you're close to or know who need assistance. And sometimes you can feel like you're alone. And so Jess is a great spokesperson for caregivers because she has her own support group. You know, she's my support group, but she actually has friends, family. She has a place to turn whenever, you know, she's having a tough day, even with her own life, or about caregiving, and I think that's helped you a lot.
Jessica, do you have like a night out that you do for yourself or something that you do just to treat yourself?
I do a lot of yoga, yes. I love to do yoga, but
I'm like, that's not a luxury. That's exercise.
well, you know,
To her, it's a luxury. But she's a better person because of it. I have to tell you, she is Tiger Mom, you know, in Taipei. I'm the fourth kid. We have three. I'm four. But she's also kind. She's never mean. I just tell her she's very regimented with everything, and I'm not. So the opposites help each other in that case. And I bring her out of that every now and then. She'll step outside that a little, just a skosh.
So you do yoga and anything else?
yoga, and we do date nights too. I mean,
She's wondering, do you ever have a girls' night?
girls' night.
Oh, tell her about
Anything like
New
that,
Year's
yeah.
Eve. Tell her what's going on.
Well, so this New Year's Eve, all of my roommates that I had here in the city are all coming to our Nashville home and spending New Year's with us. So we've been looking forward to that.
She told me that I have the kids.
I like you. Good move.
Right.
Happy New Year to you.
Right.
That's right.
What's been the biggest challenge for you guys?
You know, I as far as challenge, just really sticking to. I don't know. What would you say?
Her biggest challenge is me, for sure. No, it is. I'm ashamed of it, but sometimes she feels like, you know, I can be a little headstrong on not wanting to do my part, and then we have that honest communication, you know, where she's like, okay, you have MS. She'll tell me this. I don't have it. She goes, you have it. So if she was the only way that I know that things are working is if you do these other things so I can see that you're doing them, which relieves me and takes stress off.
To me, that's a way of him showing me that he cares for me and the children, is doing what he needs to do. And, you know, I want him to walk our daughters down the aisle and play football with our boys in the front yard. And for him to do those things, he has to keep this. So, you know, although we say we have this routine, and obviously life gets in the way, and you know.
I'll give you a good example. Like, we have 3 kids, right? And my daughter, who's 6, we have an 8-year-old boy, a 6-year-old girl, and a 3-year-old son. And my daughter, who's 6, just worships the ground I walk on. She's definitely a daddy's girl. And the other day, like this was last week. I was in the bathroom. We have a master bath, and I'm gonna have to give myself a shot. I was gonna take it in the hip on that day, and she walks in there, and she asked me what I was doing, and I said I'm taking a shot, and she was, and kids are terrified of shots anyway, and she's like, why are you taking that shot? And I've been taking a shot since before she was born, but on this particular day, she just happens to notice that this is happening, and then her mom intervenes.
I heard the conversation happening, so there's every time that he's taking his shot and I'm in the room, I always say, I love you, I love you, I love you. And so this has been since we met, I've said that. And so I walked in as I heard them having this conversation, and I told her, just say, I love you 3 times, and it'll all be better.
And she did.
So, they don't really know or understand right now because they're young, but they're starting to ask questions because, this is their normal, so we're just grooming them, into what, as they get older, what they'll see.
And before we go to the audience, I wanted to ask you about any new music.
Yeah, that song you were playing just before we walked in, "Long Live the Cowboy," is actually the title to our new album, which will be coming out beginning of the year. And I've been working on a new record for the last 3 years. And is for some of you who have heard country music before and hear it now, it's very much different. The landscape is very different than it was 5 or 6 years ago, and way different than it was 10 years ago. So I've had the opportunity over the last 3 years to really examine what's happening, what's popular, what fits me, how do I fit into this new mold. And I feel like I've been able to do that with this new music, so I'm excited and hope you guys at least stream it on Spotify or iTunes and give it a listen.
Cool. Well, let's go to our audience.
Hi, how are you guys?
Very good, yeah.
So I was just wondering if you met anybody else with multiple sclerosis, what advice you'd give them, and like for music, who would you like to collab with, or like who's like producer, anybody?
Sure. Well, to answer the first part of the question, if someone is newly diagnosed with MS, I would say that it's very important to understand that MS is a very special type of neurological disease. And so you need to get with a neurologist who is an MS specialist. And these guys are very smart, and they understand the disease to the fullest, because it is what I would call a niche disease, which means a very small population has it. Work out a game plan with that doctor, especially a medication. And I think probably any MS specialist that you spoke to would recommend you to get on one of the therapies that works. And as for the music, I'm really a blues guy, and I love country music. My dad was a traditional country music singer, and my mother was a Motown girl. She loved all the Motown, so I had a lot of influence from that side. And growing up, Lionel Richie was my favorite singer. So if I could ever collaborate with somebody, it would probably be him. I'd love to write a song with Lionel. And then I've never met him, actually, but I'd love to do that and then release that, to the public so they could hear that side of my voice.
That's so cool and so unexpected. Next question, please.
Hey, Clay. I was wondering, when you thought you weren't going to be able to walk and then pass away, did you live differently or make a bucket list or do anything you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I certainly started thinking about the bucket list at that time. I was only 26 years old, which is about your age, or you're probably younger than 26. But I was devastated to get diagnosed with it, because I didn't know what MS was. And that's what he didn't say you have multiple sclerosis. He said you have MS. And maybe he thought that was going to scare me less. I don't know. But I actually thought that the disease was muscular dystrophy, MD, right? I didn't know, and I'd been in testing all day. I went in at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and this was at midnight when he finally diagnosed me. So I'd been in and out of tests, mortified. And I thought I just had a pinched nerve in my neck. But did I start thinking about the bucket list? Yeah, because when he told me that you're going to die, that you're going to be a wheelchair in 4 years, and I was thinking, man, I was a really good high school athlete. I played football, and I was, one of the fastest guys, and had a good name. And I was thinking, how could that be? I'm really healthy. I'm 26 years old. But I immediately started thinking about, what kind of music, was I ever going to record another album? Was I going to walk my kids down the aisle? I would never, actually, I felt like I would never see those times happen. So the bucket list wasn't even in sight. It was, how can I live my best life right now?
And last question, please.
Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us. And my question is, have you inspired any of your band members or even any family members from Jessica's persistence with your regimen every day, and also your band members when you're on the road? Do you inspire them to be a little bit more healthy?
That's a great question, and this is the best answer I can give. First of all, my band adores Jessica, and they don't necessarily adore me, but they do respect me. And there's an interesting thing. I was diagnosed 20 years ago with multiple sclerosis. And at the time of my diagnosis, those same band members, you have to remember how scary the diagnosis is. And they have a career, they have families, they depend on working with me and our band to have success and finances. And all of those guys are still with me. We are all still the band after 20 years of being diagnosed with MS. So that testament to itself shows that the human condition and the loyalty that people can have for each other, in a way, they've been caregivers too, to me, right? So we started riding like the Lance Armstrong road bikes on the road, right? We exercise together, we do things together, we play basketball together, we golf together. And we actually stopped riding the bikes because one of the band members crashed into me, and everybody crashed, and we're all bleeding and concussed. and so we went from being really cool bike riders, to not. We just had to, we had to not ride the bikes anymore. But have I inspired them? I think that it's a better question for them to answer, but I would have to believe that they see the adversity that I faced in the beginning, and then they see the adversity that I still face, and I think that they believe that I've beaten it, and that gives them a lot of inspiration.
And where can we find out more about National Caregivers Month?
Bandagainstms.org.
Thank you guys so much for being here and for sharing your story.